Welcome to today's video. If you're new here, my name is Kristen. Welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. Welcome back. Today we are going to be speaking about gifts. And I'm talking about the gift that you have as a person, a gift that you are supposed to be using with the world, but you might think that it is not a gift. Some of us feel that we don't even have gifts. We feel that we're just here to pass time on earth, which I'm here to tell you is completely wrong. It's far from the truth, right? And the reason I wanted to speak about that today is because I was in this place for the past years. I was in this place where I was like, what am I supposed to be doing here on earth? Like I start in one thing, I do it for a while and I realize I just can't do it. I'm just demotivated. I am discouraged by certain things, especially when it comes to this time of year where everybody's like, I've got goals, I've got things I want to achieve. And it's like, okay, but what is the vehicle to getting those things? Because as much as there are these things that we can achieve, what is the vehicle that you're using to get there? Because I can tell you, if the vehicle, which is supposed to be your gift, is not being used correctly, or you're at least not on the path to that, it is going to be very difficult for you to sustain. And another thing is that the gift has to be from God. I know that we think that, I know we live in a world where it's all about you. It's all about you decide, you do this, you do that. But I think that we need to start really looking at the things in our lives and saying, is this from God, or is this just my own desires, which again, God puts desires in our heart, don't get me wrong, but sometimes those desires are there because you saw somebody else with those things. And we really have to evaluate that. Like, am I wanting something because I'm seeing that somebody else has this thing and that path looks nice, it looks shiny, it looks great? It doesn't mean because you can that you called. That is something that I heard this morning, and I'm just like, that is so true. That is what keeps us stuck in so many spaces, right, where we're not supposed to be. It's because we think that because we can do it, that is what we're supposed to be doing. You think that because you can do the job, that is actually what you're supposed to be doing, but it's not what you've been called to do. And so I just wanted to go over a few things that you might want to just reflect with yourself and decide, is this the path I'm wanting to take? Why am I feeling so discouraged? Why am I feeling like I don't have a gift? Why am I feeling like I'm never going to get past this area of my life? And the first thing that came to mind, which has been on my heart this whole week and was such a revelation for me, was that your gift is not for you. Now, the reason that we sometimes can't see our gifts is because we think that our gifts are supposed to be used on ourselves. And the thing is that the gift is supposed to be used on somebody else. It's supposed to benefit somebody else's life. But we think like, oh no, that's definitely not a gift because it doesn't bring me any fortune. It doesn't bring me any benefit, right? And the analogy that I came to mind with this was, a doctor doesn't become a doctor so that they can do surgery on themselves, right? And I think we put that in that category, that like the gift's supposed to be used on yourself to some extent. But I want to let you know that the gift is to be used on somebody else, and only then will it be able to provide you with prosperity, with money, with fortune, etc., because you are providing somebody else with something. And I think a lot of the times we think, oh, but I can't even do that for myself, so why should I even bother? Something else that came to mind, when just to help you conceptualize this a bit better, is anybody, and the thing is, you can look at anybody in this world, anybody that provided any sort of value, anybody that we think is gifted, they did not do it for themselves. Soccer players don't become soccer players so that they can be the best soccer players playing in the backyard for themselves, right? They have a team they want to commit to, they have fans they committed to, a coach, whatever it is. They are not doing it for themselves. And so I want us to kind of like get out of that box that the gift is for myself. No, the gift is to be used on other people. So the second point that I wanted to speak about is that you might be thinking, I can't teach what I haven't mastered, right? Like, I can't be a baker because I haven't mastered it. I can't be whatever it is, because I haven't mastered it. So the thing is that our gifts are not going to be, God is not going to tell you what your gift is in the sky, right? He's not going to make it fall down, rain on you. Some of us do have visions, some of us do have dreams, some of us do have like prophetic experiences, and that's great, it's amazing. But some of us don't. Some of us even struggle to identify the voice of God. Some of us even struggle to identify, is it the Holy Spirit speaking to us, etc. One thing I do want to help you when it comes to this is that when you do discover your gift, it's normally something that is extremely easy. It's something you find like, okay, obviously that's the route I'm supposed to be taking. But we normally want to say we are not qualified in that area, and that is why we're not going to go down that route. And the thing I want to help you with here is that Moses couldn't speak, right? But still, he was called. If we look at Jeremiah, he thought he was too young. If we look at Timothy, he said he was inexperienced. So we have all these examples in the Bible where the people that God had called were unqualified, right? And you have to have heard this to some extent, which is like he qualifies the unqualified. And the thing is, once you discover your gift, it is your responsibility to make yourself better in that gift. I'm sorry to say. Now, speaking to myself as well, I thought if I'm going to have a gift, surely it must be easy and I'm never going to have to make some sort of improvement on this gift. No, that is not the case. Once you discover your gift, once you discover the thing that you like, this is something that I am excited to do, I'm inspired to do, I want to serve people with this. The next thing is, how can I become extremely good at this? And the benefit of that is that the process is going to be one that is going to be easy for you to do, right? I don't know if you've ever, when you like obsessed with something, it becomes extremely easy for you to do that. Let's just think of something very simple. Let's just say you're watching a series, you are interested in it. You will stay up all hours of the night to make sure that you're going to finish that series or binge watch that series. It's kind of like the same thing when it comes to developing your gift. It's going to feel so easy for you. And so I really want to put it out there that yes, you work in partnership with God when it comes to your gifts. It is not going to be something that you're not going to improve on. If we look at the best people in the world, and I know I keep thinking of like the soccer example, but if a soccer player decided, and for some people it's football, but just think of anybody, tennis, whatever, any sort of sport. If that person discovered they were good at, let's just put in this case Serena Williams, Venus Williams, they discovered they were good at tennis. If you've ever watched that movie with Serena Williams and Serena and Venus, about how they came up in the world and stuff like that, their father trained them, right? They had to go to practice. They had to become good at what they did. It's not like they just discovered they were good at tennis and then all of a sudden they became the best in the world. It doesn't work like that. We have to upskill ourselves, right? We have to think, okay, this is the path that I feel is mine, and this is the path I'm going down, and I'm going to skill myself in this. I'm going to upskill myself here so that I can benefit other people to the best of my ability. And that is how we need to start thinking about our gifts. And so another point on that is that growth happens in assignment. For my mothers out there, me, right? When you become a mother, right, you are never going to be the perfect mother. You are never going to go, there's no mother school. There's no school that you go to before you become a mother, right? You have to actually become a mother before you learn the things that you need to improve on, before you learn how to become a better mother. And yes, to a certain extent, yes, you can be the perfect mother for your child, right? You can be the perfect mother for your child, but you'll never be the perfect mother. Okay. And so the thing in that sense is that we grow as we do whatever it is we need to do. And that's why I'm saying, don't say because this is my gift and I'm not good at it, I feel this is my gift, but I'm not an expert in it, that means it's not for me. You will grow as you work. You will grow as you qualify yourself. Your calling will develop through action. It is not going to be developed before action. My third point, these are so close to my heart. I just want to say, like, when I read these points, I speak to a version of myself. And that's why I feel like there has to be more of us that have experienced this. The next belief is that I haven't produced enough results. And this is for my business girlies, the girlies that want to become entrepreneurs, the people that feel like they've got a gift, but who's gonna buy because I've never sold to anybody? Who's gonna want to book a call with me because I've never been on a call before? Let me just tell you something, that the idea that I need proof, result, and success before I can step out is such a limiting belief. Okay. If we look at Gideon, right? He was hiding in a wine press. He had zero results. When God called him mighty warrior, results didn't qualify him. God did. Okay. The second thing, David, he was a shepherd boy before Goliath, before kingship, before warfare. He had no results to show. He didn't go to war before. All he could say is that me, I swung a lion, I look after my father's sheep. Like, that's all he could say. He's like, he believed in himself. He said that this result means that I am able to do something even greater. Okay. And so he had no results to show. But God said, arise, anoint him. This is the one, right? If we look at 1 Samuel 16, verse 12. The other one is the disciples. The disciples, they were uneducated fishermen, right? And people were shocked. They were unschooled, ordinary men. If we look at Acts 4, verse 13, yet God used them to build the church. And so I think a lot of the times we want to see how great we are before we've even done anything. And again, the work will happen. And again, the results will happen as you work. You have to start somewhere. And I know a lot of people might come and say, well, how are you going to teach somebody if you haven't? Girl, it's okay. Go find somebody who's willing to bet on you. You know what I'm saying? Go find the person that's willing to get on the first call with you. Go find somebody who is willing to make that first purchase. You know what I'm saying? So that is the idea that we have. Don't listen to the people that are saying, yeah, but how are you going to do that if it's normally the person that's never done it? Yeah. So don't think that results are going to become before you do any type of work. Okay. We all have to start somewhere. And if we look at us in the feminine sense, like us as women, right? Women might not have the biggest businesses, the biggest following, or the biggest results, right? So a woman might not have all those things, but she definitely has discernment, she has strategy, she has the ability to nurture, she has perspective, she has like prophetic insight, right? And that can be your advantage. Okay, that can be your advantage. The next point, that when it comes to our gifts, that might be something that limits us, right, is we think that because somebody hasn't done it before, that is not the path you need to go down. So I do want to speak on the fact that we do have pioneers and we do have enhancers, right? You need to decide which part of that you're on. You need to discern, you need to get guidance, you need to pray about, am I a pioneer or am I an enhancer? Okay, pioneers, of course, they are the people that the first person who created the light, the first person that created the car. At some point there had to be a first person. Okay, there had to be a first person that did something in order for other people to then either take that thing and mold it differently, shape it differently, improve on it, etc. And that is the thing that you need to obviously discern. You need to see which path you need to go down. Because if you're a pioneer, the path's not going to be that easy, right? But if you are an enhancer, the path might look a little bit different for you, right? Because now it's just about taking what people have done and making that thing even better. It obviously is the easiest path, but again, it's something for you to discover. And if we look at the Bible, if we look at Noah built something no one had seen. No one had seen a boat before, okay? Rain didn't exist, yet God said, build it anyway. If we look at Abraham, he was called to a place he didn't know. Where am I going to? He also had to tell Sarah, we are going somewhere, and I don't know where. He was a pioneer, right? He went out not knowing where he was going. If we look at Esther, the first woman to step into royal intercession, there was no template, right? She was the first, the number one. And then Deborah, the only female judge, she had no predecessors. Okay, and so that is something that I want us to also understand, that as a woman, you're often going to need to be a pioneer, okay, in intangible spaces. So, in emotional leadership, spiritual discernment, nurturing innovation, relational intelligence, intuition led decision making, okay. These are not visible blueprints, but they are very transformative. With that being said, I do want to say that the lack of blueprint doesn't mean that it's a red flag, okay. A lot of the times you think, and we've heard it many of times where people are like, well, there's probably a reason nobody's done it. It's like, yeah, maybe you can be the reason that somebody actually does do it, and you can be the pioneer where people can come and improve on it for the rest of generations to come. And so those are kind of like the limiting beliefs that we might have when it comes to our gifts. Some things that I also want us to just touch on is that results follow obedience, not comfort. So results come after the obedience, right? Just like fitness, business, faith, you have to be willing to go through that awkward beginner stage of anything, and that includes your gift. Your gift is going to have an awkward stage where you're like, is this really it? And you need to embrace that awkward stage. You need to be prepared for that awkward stage. You will not master things the first time. You're not gonna master selling without trying. You're not gonna master calls without getting on them. You're not gonna master like coaching if you're in the space of coaching if you don't practice it. And if we look at scripture in this case, if we look at James 2 verse 17, faith without works is dead. And then also in Ecclesiastes 11 verse 6, which says, in the morning sow your seed, which means that you won't know which seed becomes a result. Just continue sowing them. The second thing that I wanted to point out and just elaborate a bit more on is when it comes to the idea of I'm not qualified. A lot of the times, once you've discovered your gift, let's say you've done a few things now and you're at the point where you're like, okay, I think that this is my gift, but I don't feel qualified, like I don't feel skilled. Normally, what happens, and this is something my personal experience is, when I discovered my gift, right, and then afterwards I had all the list, or I had the list as to why I couldn't proceed with this gift. That was what I needed to improve on. And that is where the magic is. The moment you can say, the reason I can't do this thing is because my communication is bad. I've never been on a call before. I don't like sales. I don't like. The moment you can start listing those things out, a lot of the times that is exactly what you need to improve on. And if once you've improved on all of those things and you've become skilled at it, etc., and your gift is just something that like makes you happy, it exhilarates you, it brings you into a different space, because I do believe that your gift has to be something that you are happy with and that it serves other people. If it's something that serves other people but you are not happy in, it's not a gift. Let me just tell you, it's the thing that you can do but you're not called to. And so the scripture that I just want to point out here, if we look at Psalms 90 verse 12, which says, teach us to number our days that we may gain the heart of wisdom. Wisdom begins in self-awareness. The moment you can become aware of the things that I need to improve on so that this gift can give me what I need. It's like the soccer player. He had to kick a ball. He had to do a few things. Then he realized, I actually can't do this skill. Let me learn how to do that skill. That is exactly what we're speaking about. Once you become self-aware, oh, I need to improve. I'm actually not a defender. I'm a striker, right? That is when you start to get self-aware. That is the things that you start to say, okay, why am I telling myself these are the things that I need to improve on? And that's just some food for thought, right? If you have your gift and then you have all the reasons why you're not as good in that gift, that is probably the reason you should go and improve on those things. Next thing is that you cannot discover your gift without trying things. You have to try things. Your gift, like I said, is not going to be it's not going to be written in the sky. And the way I like to look at this is, if you've watched any movie, well, if you've watched movies, especially as a woman, where she's getting a makeover, she gets to go to the boutique, the sales assistant there gives them a whole lot of outfits to try, and then the music goes on and she goes into the changing room, out of the changing room, and then everybody's like, no, no, you know what I'm saying? And then eventually the music dies and she comes out and it's this perfect outfit or perfect wedding dress, whatever it is, right? And that is how I think the process goes when it comes to discovering your gift. That you have to try on different things. You have to go down the route. Listen to what people are saying you're good at. Question it. Go try it out. See if it works for you. If anybody's been a failure, it has been me. It has been me. I have tried and failed at so many things, jobs, you name it. I have been in that space and failed. Do you know what I'm saying? But the failing is the molding process. It is only through that failing that I got to the stage that I am now. It is only through the failing that I know exactly what is for me and I know exactly what is not for me. But if you haven't tried anything, you're definitely not going to find out. You're definitely not going to know what that is. And so I want to encourage you to take failure as feedback. It is not something that disqualifies you, but it is something that informs you. And so it reveals direction, it reveals boundaries, it reveals preferences. Like, I realized just last year that I did not want to do business with the hustle and bustle. Like, that is just not how I want to do business. I don't want to be masculine in my business. I wanted to be a feminine led business, and that's what led me to start Liquid Orange. And so those are the things that are there to encourage you. Your failures are there to encourage you. If you don't fail, you got no information. And you cannot transform without information. You cannot take on a stage of transformation without information. My last point is that your gift may not be with you being on the front line. And what I mean by this is that sometimes you are not called to be a speaker, but you may be called to be the person that provides the platform for the speaker, right? You may not be called to be the artist, but you are someone that is called to be the curator, the producer, or the financer of that, okay? And so I just want to encourage you that, look at things from a different perspective. I think when we look at things like this, that is when we get so lost. That is when we start to get discouraged. That is when we feel like, I'm not gifted. I'm just supposed to pass through the earth for who knows what, okay? And so really just look at the perspective of, maybe my gift is actually to provide somebody else with the stage. So if we look at biblical examples, if we look at Moses, for example, and Aaron, right? Moses was a visionary leader, but he could not communicate. So God appointed Aaron to be his mouthpiece, okay? And so he said, he shall speak for you. If we look at Exodus 4, verse 16, Moses led, right? He still led, but Aaron was the one that communicated. These are two different gifts, but both of them were essential. If we look at King David, right? He had planners, generals, administrators, and David was anointed to lead, but his success came from over 30 different key roles in his administration. 30 different, just think, 30 different key roles. Imagine those people weren't there. Was he going to be the king that he needed to be? Was he going to be as successful? And maybe you are the person that is playing one of those 30 administrative roles. So look at things from a different perspective. Do I want to provide a platform? Do I want to be a pioneer? Do I want to be an enhancer? What role am I going to play with regards to my gift? Or what role is my gift calling me to play? The last one for my woman is definitely Esther needed Mordecai. Esther was the face, right? But Mordecai had the insight and the strategy. He told her, for such a time as this, okay? She acted, but the revelation came from him. If it wasn't for him, how was she going to act? How was she going to say what needs to happen? How was she going to save the Jews, right? And so not all gifts are visible. Some gifts are guiding, strategizing, and positioning. I just want to give us some application steps that maybe you can start putting in place together with, okay, now I've discovered what type of limiting beliefs I have. I've given you some stories where everybody has faced this in the Bible, where people have had exactly what it is, where people have experienced exactly what you might be going through right now. But I also want to give you some practical steps, right? So the first, in terms of identifying your true gift. And I want you to look at it from different perspectives. Don't just look at it so narrow. You know what I'm saying? So the first one is, ask people what you are naturally good at. You've had to have heard this. Just ask. The only reason I got you is because my cousin kept telling me, you know what you're good at? You know what you're good at? You know what you're good at? And I'm like, why does she keep saying that? She keep telling me what I was good at, right? The second thing is, list what energizes you and what drains you. As I said, if it doesn't make you happy and you are serving people, it's not the gift. It has to do both. It has to do both. Yes, there might be a season where you're going to go through a season of upskilling yourself. It might be draining. I don't think there's any doctor in this world that was like, loved it. It was incredible studying. It was amazing. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of it, they carried on, they done it because they knew that is what they were supposed to do, right? Try on different outfits. Think of that idea that I gave you about the movie. Try on different outfits. See what is going to work for you. See what doesn't work for you. And it's okay. The failure is going to mold you. You are going to get feedback. You are going to know what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Don't make it so religious, right? Don't make it so like rigid. Go, try, see what works. But the point is that one, it's going to serve you. It's going to make you happy. It's going to serve other people, and it's going to bring you prosperity. Okay, you are going to be successful in it. It is going to bring you money. It is going to bring you some sort of success. Okay, number 5 is watch where God opens doors as he moves you. Watch where God opens doors as he moves you. When you make this move, how all of a sudden this is so easy to do. I just found this situation at hand. Look at where God is moving you, and that is something that you'll see. Things are just happening for me in this space. Wow, okay, maybe this is where I need to be moving. What I will say is that when you are moving in your gift, doors will open. You will get calls that you didn't do anything, but you got the call. People will come to you, but you didn't ask for them. Like there's things that will start to happen in your life that you really have to think, but why is it so easy? Why are things coming to me? Why are opportunities coming to me? And be careful not to turn them down because you think you're not qualified. Step 6 is don't avoid to pivot again. If it doesn't work out, pivot. Move on to the next thing. This is not for me. You are never serving people when you are drained, okay? When you are not happy. That is not where you're supposed to be. And so, with that being said, I really do want to encourage you when it comes to the last step, which is step 7, which is that there is a discovery process. Don't think that once you get your gift, it's on a platter and that is where you're going to stay for the rest of your life. The gift is there, right? But the process is going to change. We've heard so many people, I started here and now I'm here. I did this and now I'm here. There is a process, okay? There's things that are going to change. As a woman, something might have worked for you when you were single, but now you are a mother. So now that means things need to change. But the gift is going to stay. And don't ever think because the circumstance has changed that the gift is that the gift was wrong sometimes. Okay. And so yeah, I hope this video encourages you, it blesses you. For 2026, let us be intentional about discovering our gifts, about understanding them, about walking in them, about transforming our lives to be exactly what God has called us to be. I hope this video has blessed you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.